Hi, friends. I'm Karen, and this is the Family Food for Moms podcast. We're talking about inspiration for family cooking and dining. Today, we're going to be talking about some of my favorite side dishes to cook with a meal, some examples of side dishes from a few English countries mainly, and a couple of others perhaps, but generally ones that are familiar and you just need reminding of. My favorite kind of side dish to do is a steamed vegetable, very simple. So if we get green beans or butternut squash or sweet potato and chop it up, or long-stemmed broccoli, Brussels sprouts, all of those work so well just simply being steamed. And the cheapest way to do this is using a steamer tray, like an insert made from stainless steel, with holes in it that you put into your pot of boiling water. So you'll put boiling water up to the base of the steamer tray, about a third of the pot or maybe a quarter. And then you turn it on and it steams. You put the lid on and then you put the vegetables on top of the steamer tray. The only thing with this is that it can burn if it runs out of water. So you have to watch it carefully after about 10 or 15 minutes. Check if the stuff's done or add more water if you need to. I like to keep a kettle of boiled water nearby to add if necessary. And the steam can be very hot, so be very careful when you're opening it. I use oven gloves, even on my wrists where the steam may touch me. So steamed vegetables are one of the healthiest ways to eat them. They retain the most nutrients. They retain the most flavor because it's not boiled away. So just lightly steamed to however you like them. Broccoli turns bright green when it's ready, when steamed. Brussels sprouts are so much nicer steamed than roasted in the oven. I find them hard and strange when they're roasted. But steamed vegetables are always tender and flavorful. And then you can always add a little butter and salt when you take them out the steamer. I usually steam them for 15 to 20 minutes and then leave them, turn the stove off and leave them for a little longer and then open them and they're pretty much soft. I like to do fresh artichokes like this too. Those are a fabulous side dish. You just cut off a bit of the stem, you cut off the tips of the leaves, and then you steam them with the stem side down so it gets lovely and soft. And then you can eat your artichokes one leaf at a time, and they're fabulous. Some would take longer than others. Corn on the cob is another great item to steam. You can steam however many fit in the pot at a time. So very simple, a pot, a little bit of water, a steamer tray, and then your vegetables. Steam for 15 to 20 minutes and then add your salt or your butter. So this is what we do most often. It's really so delicious and so easy. You also get steamers electric steamers that you can leave and not have to worry about the water running out because they'll shut off automatically before that happens. The problem with most of these is they're made of plastic. The steamer trays are made of plastic and it just is not great for the food to be cooked in plastic. We had one that was stainless steel and it was fabulous. It lasted about 10 years, but then it died and I can't find another one. But using the pot works well. You also get bamboo steamers like the Chinese use, which you place on top of your boiling water. They also got a lid, so it works very similar to a steamer tray. So steaming side dishes. Then you can also use a lot of these side dishes as an appetizer if you're going to use courses or have courses in your meal. We sometimes like to do this for a celebration meal or just to make it a little fancier. We'll start with a dinner dish on the table and then a side dish on top of that with the elegant table setting, and then we have the side as your appetizer or your starter on the smaller plate. So some steamed broccoli with butter and salt, some corn on the cob, etc. So have that first. Also, there's less chance that it's going to be ignored by children. If they have it first when they're hungry, they'll eat their vegetables, and then you can do the main course on the next plate. Or should I say the meat part, the meat and potatoes, or that part of the meal after you've had your vegetables. But perhaps you like to have it as a side dish. Sometimes you choose one or two sides. When I was growing up, it was always the meat, potatoes, and two vegetables. Cauliflower with cheese sauce and peas, or spinach and mushrooms. So let's talk about some other side dishes from Britain. Get to be inspired by different cultures and what they do as side dishes. Bubble and squeak is a good British side dish. So leftover cabbage or Brussels sprouts, other vegetables, and then mashed potato. And you basically add the seasoning and the vegetables to the mashed potato. You put it in a pan and you brown it, you crisp it, turn it over and crisp it on the other side. It makes an amazing side dish of potatoy vegetables. Then cauliflower with cheese sauce. This is a British specialty, goes well with a Sunday roast beef. So cauliflower steamed or baked, and then you either pour the cheese sauce on afterwards, just before eating it, or you put it on and bake it with the cheese sauce. Cheddary, mustardy cheese sauce is great. Let's see, roasted root vegetables. You can add carrots, parsnips, turnips, beetroot, even butternut. So any that are hard and work well together take about the same amount of time to cook. Or you can use something like zucchini and red peppers, and both of those take a shorter time to cook. And then you'll add your salt and oil and roast it in the oven. You can put a few onion slices on top with the salt and oil, and it makes it nice and caramelized oniony on top. Then let's look at a couple of Canadian sides. So maple roasted root vegetables, so carrots or parsnips, roasted with butter and maple syrup. Maple syrup is the iconic Canadian ingredient. So roasting your root vegetables makes them sweet and caramelized, and adding that maple syrup flavor is delicious and goes well with roast meats or baked salmon. Caesar salad. This is popular in the United States as well. So it would be lettuce with a creamy Caesar dressing, a little garlicky, and bacon bits, croutons. Makes an amazing salad. I mentioned steamed corn on the cob. So buttered corn on the cob, whether you steam it, boil it, or grill it, it's lovely to brush with butter and salt afterwards when you're eating it. Works great with barbecues or like cottage pie. Shepherd's pie is a great side. The coleslaw, of course. Cabbage and carrot salad grated or shredded with a creamy or a vinegar-based dressing, or simply putting mayonnaise on it. Works great with shredded meat in a pita bread, or just as a side with any meat, like a roast beef sliced up. Roasted Brussels sprouts with bacon are also a Canadian favorite. You would add oil and salt to the Brussels sprouts, perhaps cut them in half so they cook faster, and then sprinkle with bacon and roast that on a tray. Some well-loved South African sides: butternut squash or even pumpkin with cinnamon or honey. So you toss it in the cinnamon, or even both together, cinnamon and honey, bit of butter, and then you roast it in the oven perhaps in a glass dish. Caramelized, sweet and soft, and that goes great with many meals, almost any main. A beetroot salad, sliced or grated beetroot, cooked or steamed and then dressed with a sweet and sour vinaigrette. So that can go well with a barbecue or braai, or with a Sunday lunch of roast chicken. Then millipap. This would be ground maize, similar to polenta, but not as fine. And it's cooked into a porridge. So almost the consistency of mashed potato, but thicker. It can be soft or crumbly. And then it's often served with a tomato and onion sauce on top, like cooked down tomato and onion, and then maybe some sausage, and it's poured over the millipap. Chakalaka is a spicy relish that's made with onions, tomatoes, carrots, red peppers, and sometimes beans. This came from the mining camps, where the workers mixed whatever vegetables and spices they had to make something flavorful. And then they had it with the pap, or with bread, or even with fried or barbecued meat. Another great British side, which I forgot to mention, which is quite unusual, is Yorkshire pudding or Yorkshire puddings. They go great with roast beef and gravy. So they're not actually a dessert. They're made from flour, milk, and eggs. And then they're baked at a very hot temperature in muffin trays. And then the little Yorkshire puddings puff up, the dough puffs up, and then you eat them with the gravy and the meat, and they're really delicious and unusual. So look up a recipe for that if you'd like to. I'm going to talk more about ideas for sides in a future episode, so I don't want to put too much in this one. I'll leave it there for today, and I hope you've got a few ideas of new sides you can try, and then we'll talk more soon. Thanks for listening today. I'll see you next time.